Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma, Jai Ma, 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 Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ananda Ma.
Thank you so much for that beautiful chant. Isla and Aliza, we really appreciate your music this morning, and we'll hear some more of it. My name is Sally Joe. Welcome to Interfaith Community Sanctuary this morning. It's a beautiful morning in the neighborhood, as I love to say. And we're all gathered here in community to have a wonderful, peaceful, and loving experience together. I can already feel it in the air. We like to begin our programs, our services every Sunday with some welcoming rituals and practices that we start with, and our music is always part of that. Thank you so much for that beautiful chant. Jai Jai Ma, honoring the divine feminine. And I'm going to ask Chris to come up and invite our ancestors in and honor our first peoples here this morning. Thank you, Chris.
Good morning, and okay. Hope everybody can hear me okay, and out there in the cyber world. Welcome to Interfaith Community Sanctuary. My name is Chris Repsevich, and I'm very glad and honored to be able to welcome in our ancestors and honor our First Peoples on this last, and as Sally Jo alluded to, beautiful Sunday of 2025. I say it with no ill will, but I'm glad to see 2025 gone. But one thing I'd be glad to see again is our ancestors, and I hope that we can think of all the folks, whether they be related to us by blood and have taught us directly, or come to us through books and other sources that may have been important to us in our lives. I hope that we can gather those folks, those souls in our hearts. Let us welcome them into our community, into our service today. Let us take a moment and breathe and think of those individuals. I'd also at this time like us to think of ourselves as somewhat of a continuum. Life and this reality, in my belief, is somewhat of a circular nature, and all of those who may come after us, I'd also like us to think about briefly our descendants, whether again they be related to us direct by blood, or we're raising these children ourselves. There may be also other individuals that we come in contact with, folks we meet in stores, or folks we see on the roads, and think of those folks as our descendants. Think of those folks as if we're influenced by our ancestors in some way, we may be in turn influencing and encouraging, hopefully, our descendants. So I'd like us to think briefly about folks who we may consider our descendants and hold them in our hearts also. And we welcome both our ancestors and our descendants and all people of all beliefs and walks of life. We thank you for being here today, and we thank our ancestors and descendants for attending with us also. One more ritual, as was mentioned, we like to acknowledge that this land that Interfaith Community Sanctuary sits on is originally native land, and it's never been ceded to us directly. Native peoples have held this land in trust, worked this land, encouraged its growth, and as settlers came over from Europe and other places, encouraged us to be able to take, I do this all the time and I'm faltering for words here, to be of the same spirit, to think that while once on these lands and still Duwamish people walked and worked here, there were many other tribes and groups known as the Coast Salish people. One place that you may look to for more information about this is the Longhouse it's in Marginal Way, just near Harbor Island. I strongly encourage you to go and check that out, and if our community also gives back to the Native community, there's an organization that the Duwamish set up, realrentduwamish.org. We give contributions to that regularly, and we want to, again, remember and acknowledge that this land and the peoples are still here, and may they still teach us, encourage us, and be in community with them. Blessed be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you all for being here and participating in our opening offerings. We have one more opening event that we do every Sunday, and as you know, if you've been here before, many of you have, we honor the divine feminine, and there's a special candle lit here with an image of Mary on that. And today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm kind of excited about today's service because it's the last, as Chris pointed out, the last Sunday in December. And we've had a very beautiful year of services and activities this year, I believe. And I had sort of assigned myself to wrap up the year today. And that's been a daunting self-assignment for myself as co-minister. And Jamal, of course, encouraged me to do that. And so I want to wrap up the year around our divine feminine with honoring Mary and Jesus. It is the Christmas season, and everybody has been hearing a lot, I know, throughout the last month. And so, and we're still in Christmas for the Eastern Orthodox folks and the people in Ethiopia and Eastern Europe and many lands to the east celebrate Christmas. They celebrate the 12 days of Christmas, and that ends up, I think, January 8th or 10th this year. And so we're still in the Christmas season for many folks. And I like to mention the fact, having studied a lot about Islam and studied the Quran very carefully and in my own way, studiously. And I think a lot of people think that the Christians own Jesus, that Jesus is just a Christian phenomena. In fact, in Islam, Jesus is a very honored and revered prophet. He's known as the Spirit of God. He's talked about in the Quran extensively. His life, his teachings, his presence is in the Quran, along with all the other prophets, starting with the prophet Abraham and Moses and Jonah and Job and many, many Christian prophets who appear in the Christian Bible and in the Jewish Bible are also in the Quran. Many people don't know that. They kind of think of the Quran as some weird book. But anyway, that's okay. I want to read a passage from the Quran this morning, which is from a chapter of the Quran called Maryam, which is Mary in Islam. And Maryam is the mother of Jesus. And every time Jesus is mentioned in the Quran, he's not called just Jesus. He's called Jesus, son of Mary. Jesus, son of Mary. The number, probably 100 times or more, Jesus' name, Jesus is referred to in the Quran, and he's always called Jesus, son of Mary. And there are some modern Islamic scholars who believe that Mary is in fact a prophet as well, although she was never pronounced as such by any of the church, any authorities that may have come in the past. Anyway, I want to read about Mary and Jesus from the chapter, from the Quran directly, so you can hear how, just kind of another version of the story of the birth of Jesus, and how Mary is involved in the birth of Jesus. I want you to pay attention to Mary's role in this story, and how it may be similar or different to what you may have heard before about Mary's role, okay? So I'm gonna put this. And one thing I think I might need to explain is when you hear the words I or we in this passage, this is a passage of the Quran revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, as all of the Quran was. And it's a voice he hears and he translates to the community. And in it, I and we are meant to be the divine voice, divinity talking through the angel Gabriel. And divinity says to the prophet, and mention in the book, O prophet, the story of Mary when she withdrew from her family to a place in the east, screening herself off from them. Then we sent to her our angel, Gabriel, appearing before her as a man, perfectly formed. She appealed and this is in quotes, this is Mary talking, "I truly seek refuge in the most compassionate from you, so leave me alone if you are God-fearing." He responded, "I am only a messenger from your Lord, sent to bless you with a pure son." She wondered, "How can I have a son when no man has ever touched me, nor am I unchaste?" He replied, "So will it be. Your Lord says, 'It is easy for me,' and so will we make him a sign for humanity and a mercy from us. It is a matter already decreed." So she conceived him and withdrew with him to a remote place. Then the pains of labor drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. She cried, "Alas, I wish I had died before this, and was a thing long forgotten." So a voice reassured her from below her, "Do not grieve. Your Lord has provided a stream at your feet, and shake the trunk of this palm tree towards you. It will drop fresh, ripe dates upon you. So eat and drink and put your heart at ease. But if you see any of the people, say, 'I have vowed silence to the most compassionate, so I am not talking to anyone today.'" Then she returned to her people, carrying him. They said in shock, "Oh, Mary, you have certainly done a horrible thing. Oh, sister of Aaron, your father was not an indecent man, nor was your mother unchaste." So she pointed to the baby. They exclaimed, "How can we talk to someone who is an infant in the cradle?" Jesus declared, "I am truly a servant of Allah. He has destined me to be given the scripture and to be a prophet. He has made me a blessing wherever I go and bid me to establish prayer and give alms as long as I live, and to be kind to my mother. He has not made me arrogant or defiant. Peace be upon me the day I was born, the day I die, and the day I will be raised back to life." That's the end of Jesus' quote. That is Jesus, Son of Mary, and this is a word of truth about which they dispute. So just want to let that sit with you for a few minutes. And that really impacted me again this week as I was reading it, and as our dear sister Ann Bahia, Holmes Redding, in Friday prayers, gave her khutbah and her talk about the birth pangs that Mary went through. And I think last Sunday, you heard a poem from Rumi about how we all need to give birth to our inner Jesus. And this is a process, it's also symbolic of a process that not only women go through giving birth, those who give birth to children, but also all of us give birth to our inner spirit and our inner Jesus. So that was just a follow-up for that. Now I think I'll have Isla play a little bit of more chanting so we can kind of let that sink in before I start my talk.
Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om Namah Shivaya. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Om, Hari Om, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, 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 Hari Om.
To be able to share with folks who cannot be here in person. So I would like to begin my talk today, before I get into my, discourse, so to speak. I'd like to begin with a meditation. So I'm going to sit forward on my chair. I recommend you might want to do that too. So that although you guys are bigger than me, I have to do that in order for my feet to hit the ground. So you sit comfortably, and it is important, however, that our feet be planted firmly on the ground, because we're going to do a little bit of breath meditation and a connection with Mother Earth, our dear Mother Earth. So if you can relax your body, although sitting straight, align your neck and your back and your feet touching the ground. And I will ring the bell gently 3 times to get us started, and then I'll lead a guided meditation here. Let's begin by focusing on our breath. Breathing in, we become aware of our breath. Breathing out, I am aware of my out-breath. Breathing in, I am aware of my body. Breathing out, I relax my body. Breathing in, I stay with my in-breath the whole time I breathe in. And breathing out, I stay with my out-breath. Breathing in, aware of my body. Breathing out, relaxing my body. Breathing in, I recognize my body as being alive. Breathing out, I relax my face, my shoulders, my neck, my trunk, my lower body. Breathing in, I am alive. Breathing out, I am relaxed. Breathing in, I feel my body as part of Mother Earth. Breathing out, I am a child of Mother Earth, and I smile. Breathing in, I connect with Mother Earth. Breathing out, as a child of Mother Earth, I smile. Breathing in, as a child of Mother Earth, I realize that I am living on Mother Earth, who sustains me. Breathing out, I smile in gratitude. Breathing in, I realize that every day there is a chance to cultivate love and understanding. Breathing out, I give rise to a deep aspiration to bring healing, love, and transformation to myself, my loved ones, and all on Mother Earth. Breathing in, I see a chance to cultivate love and understanding. Breathing out, I give rise to a deep aspiration to bring healing, love, and transformation to myself and Mother Earth. Breathing in, I know that when I alleviate my own suffering, I am also alleviating the Earth's suffering. This is interbeing. Breathing out, I know that when I alleviate my own suffering, I am also alleviating the suffering of my ancestors and descendants. This is interbeing. Breathing in, alleviating my own suffering. Breathing out, alleviating the suffering of others, including my ancestors and descendants. Breathing in, I am aware of life present within me. Breathing out, I am in touch with life around me, and I smile. Breathing in, I am alive. This breath is life. Breathing out, I am present to life and to all the wonders around me. So that meditation was a welcoming to everybody for showing up for our appointment with life this morning. We're here, we arrived, we made it. We have an appointment with life every moment. During the past year, those of you who've been around and come to our services regularly, you know that we've been exploring the idea in our annual discernment of creating sanctuary in community. And we've been inviting many different speakers and congregants and our ministers and our people in our community to share with us their thoughts about sanctuary, what sanctuary means to each of us, what coming together in community in a sanctuary building means to us, and how we create that sanctuary, that safe place, and carry it around with us wherever we go. And I think that one purpose of this whole year has been to come together to learn, to explore, to listen to each other, to connect with each other, to share our ideas and our practices, and to evolve in a safe and nourishing way in community with other people whom we trust and whom we feel comfortable around. Today, I want to share some of my ideas about how we can move this process of the last year and the year before that, when we worked a lot on our discernment of meditation and how to deepen our inner awareness, and excuse me. And we try to make our discernments every year different, but always interconnected to our spiritual purpose. And next year, as some of you know, because I talked about it in our guiding council meeting, we plan to be exploring the concept of engaged Buddhism and collective awakening in beloved community. So I think we're going to go a little deeper into how we can not only get together and share our spiritual practices, but actually practice together in ways that take us not only deeper within our community, but a little bit outside of our community, and take our community into our daily lives as we interact with other people, and as we interact with the world, and as we interact with our working life and our family life and our neighborhood life and all the life around us, and with the planet Earth on which we live and by which we survive. So it's a broadening of our thoughts about community and about sanctuary. I remember when I was a small child and I learned what the word sanctuary meant, and my parents explained to me that a sanctuary was a safe place where creatures like birds, I was particularly interested in bird sanctuaries, where birds could go and be safe and know that nobody would come and kill them or try to kill them or chase them away, or where beavers knew that their dams would not be disturbed by machines and things like that. And I thought that was a beautiful concept, and some of you know, I spent some time in a summer camp in a bird sanctuary. But I always wondered, why isn't the world a sanctuary? I mean, isn't this a safe place for birds? Isn't this a safe place for beavers? And, you know, as a child, you don't really know what that means. But as an adult, you grow up and you start to find out, right? So I've been I just finished taking a 7-week class with online with the folks at Plum Village, which is a Buddhist community started by Thich Nhat Hanh, a very well-known spiritual teacher. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard of him or read his books or heard his talks. And he passed away in 2022, I believe. But his community is still alive and well. It's called Plum Village. And they do these workshops and continue his teachings. And wonderful men and women who live there who have been learning from Thich Nhat Hanh and his other Buddhist associates and friends. And there's a book, I meant to bring it up, shoot, I forgot. It's called Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. It's the last book that Thich Nhat Hanh wrote. He was finishing it up when he passed on, and he had a couple of the nuns in the sanctuary there in their community helping him to edit it, and they finished it up for him and published it, I think in 2022 actually, or 2023. And it's a beautiful book. Most of it is his words, but some of the words of the nuns. And it's all about his teachings, which he's been teaching for many, many years here in the US. And before that, he was very active as a peace activist in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. And we're going to be using that book as kind of a basis for some of our practices and some of our explorations this year, I hope. And I'm inviting people, those of you who are going to be participating in the services, to possibly, I have 2 copies of the book that I bought for the sanctuary that are available for anyone who wants to borrow them, look at them, read them. I know Nora Grace has been reading and has finished reading one. I know Jamal has been reading it. There are people who have started to read it, and we invite everybody who's interested. And even if you don't read it, it's okay too, because you can go on YouTube and hear some of his talks and hear all about Thich Nhat Hanh's philosophy. And he always says, when he's talking about, especially in this book and in his final chapter of life, he kept saying, this isn't about Buddhism. This is about Mother Earth. and connecting with Mother Earth through this concept called interbeing, which I introduced to you a little bit in that earlier meditation. And in his mind, in fact, when we meet in our small groups and talk about what we're learning in our practices and our meditations, he says, don't talk about Buddhism. It isn't about Buddhism. And you don't have to be Buddhist to understand these concepts. However, it is important that you be open to the idea that there is a higher purpose in our lives, a higher purpose in the universe, and an interconnectivity. So there are 4 basic principles that I want to quickly kind of go through that will permeate our study as we go through this. And the principles are more important than, you know, like I said, the Buddhism as a religion. They're really more about principles of being alive, I would say. The first one is the principle of interbeing. And it's pretty simple. We're all interconnected. You know, and we've heard that before, and we kind of believe that. We're all interconnected. You know, you run into somebody who knows your sister or who knew your parents or who you were, you know, you had gone to the same camp or the same school or whatever. You're interconnected. But we are really, it's bigger than that. We are all interconnected. And we are all interconnected in the sense that we are a part of each other. We belong to each other. And that includes Mother Earth. Mother Earth is within us. All of the elements that make up the billions of cells in our body, in fact, I think there are trillions of cells in our body, they all come from Mother Earth. They all originated in the cosmos, in the stars originally. They were then transformed into the Earth, the planet we live on, and they are in our bodies. And they make us up. They are part of us. And we are part of Mother Earth. So even living and non-living aspects, the magnesium and the iron and all the different minerals that are in our body help us breathe and live and nourish our bodies. So that interbeing goes deeper than just we all could connect with each other if we wanted to or if we had a chance to. It's more than that. We're already connected. And that's a pretty deep concept, I think. But the thing that really blew my mind was the concept that we're not only interconnected with everything around us, the earth, the cosmos, people, but we're interconnected with our past, our present, and our future. We're interconnected through this timeline of being. It's really amazing when you think of it. And I know there's one meditation that I've done with Thich Nhat Hanh where he talks about how your parents are within you. Every cell of your body has your mother and your father in it. That's just a beginning. Every cell of their body had their parents in it. So you carry your grandparents in you, whether you ever met them or not, or even heard stories about them. And on and on and on in that. And I remember Steve Crawford talking about this in one of his services. If you go back far enough, you go back to the first living being on our planet. We don't really know who that was, what that was, and how it came to be, but it did. There was a time when everything was non-living in the sense that we think of living, and then there was life. And all of us came from that spark, each of us and all of us. So it's a pretty astonishing concept that we also have our interconnectivity, not just through the space that we occupy. We wouldn't be alive if we were on Mars or Venus or Jupiter or Mercury. I promise you. I've looked into that. We would not be alive. But we are alive here, and we are standing and sitting and balanced perfectly so that we can get around on this planet, do a lot of mischief as well as good things. Anyway, that's the principle of interbeing. The second principle is the principle of transformation. Transformation has to do with change. I think we all know that everything changes. Nothing stays the same. What do they say? The only thing you can be sure of is that you can't be sure of anything, that things will change, and you won't know exactly how they're going to change. So there's this principle of transformation. And this goes to our individual transformation, and the fact that I think it's another principle that's pretty popular in Buddhism, but it's pretty much known in every human being, is that there is suffering in the world. There's suffering in human life, there's suffering in animal life, there's suffering when a tree is cut down, there's suffering in the world. And we know that, and we wish it weren't so, but we also know that we can transform our suffering, we can understand it, we can adapt to it and understand it and embrace it in a way that it will become a new kind of energy. And it can even become a joyful energy. And this transformation, according to most of the spiritual traditions, and all of the mystical traditions exist in all spiritual traditions. And all of the mystical traditions particularly emphasize meditative practices which help us gain insights over time and as an ongoing practice. And that's what, for several years now, many years in this community, I remember Reverend Karen Lindquist used to talk again and again about how we have to return to our meditative practices, our contemplative practices, in order to really transform our own lives, the lives of others, and the lives of the world we live in. So in many, many ways, and we all do it in our own pace and in our own way, and with our own method of contemplation and meditation. But there's been a long time focus on that in this community. The third principle is the principle of awakened action, or what Thich Nhat Hanh calls active nonviolence. And it's a principle that in the process of transforming our own personal suffering, we have to survive in a society, and we need to practice awakened action in the world around us. If I'm out in the park and a little child is playing on the play equipment and falls to the ground and starts crying, I might look around to see if there's an adult there and run over and help him or her and see if she's okay, or does she need, just let her know that there's somebody there to help take care of her. We interact with others, and we see suffering going on sometimes, and we have to think about, how can I interact in a way that won't make the situation worse, for example, or that will make it better. And we do that constantly. I was walking home from my swimming appointment late a couple nights ago, 9 o'clock at night, walking down Market Street, thinking about, feeling great, thinking to myself, and suddenly a little dog jumped up and bit me on the arm. Just out of nowhere, I didn't even see the dog. They were two little dogs being walked by two people. There were a lot of people around. And I was so shocked, and the dog just jumped up and bit me and then jumped back down again, and the two people got very upset that the dog had bit me, and I said, well, I jumped and I probably squealed or something. And I said, I'm okay. It hadn't broken the skin or anything. But there was a definite interaction after that happened. Like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And the man followed me a little bit and said, are you okay? I said, I'm okay. I'm not afraid of dogs, but I don't know what happened right there. I was shook up, right? And then we comforted each other. I felt like I had to comfort them. It's okay. I'm all right. I'm fine. I'll make it home. But there was that, these things happen. We witness suffering, and we interact with each other around it. So what's the best way to do that? And how is the most effective way to help alleviate that suffering? So it's helpful, it was helpful to me that having a dog jump on me didn't traumatize me. For some reason, I've only maybe one other time in my life ever been bitten by a dog. And that was one time when I was a little kid. and I was at my favorite Aunt Rosemary's house, and the dog was eating his dinner, and I didn't know. I was about 3 or 4, and I didn't know you don't pet a dog while they're eating their dinner. I learned that lesson. I went over to pet the dog, and the dog turned around and bit me, and I'm like, whoa. But my Aunt Rosemary was so sweet. She said, oh, darling, you never pet a dog while she's eating because she's so involved in her food, and she thinks you're going to take her food away from her. And I mean, she took care of my bite, and it was all right. But that, but if I had ever had a severe problem with dogs or something traumatic, then that would have set off something in me in my later life. But we can heal ourselves from our own earlier traumatic experiences or the suffering we've been through. We can heal that ourselves through certain kinds of meditative practices. And the more we heal ourselves, the more we heal our past, the things that have been passed down to us from our parents and grandparents and great-grandparents. And it'll help us live a better future, and a better future for our own descendants, the people we influence, the children we teach, the children we're around, the people we interact with. And so doing these interactions in a non-violent way, I think he's trying to make the point that it isn't just not doing harm to others, but it's about doing good to others, doing right and helpful and healing things. And the only way we can do that is when we ourselves feel fairly healed and comfortable in that particular area of our life. Okay, so it's a little more complicated than just not being violent to others and not being nasty and not being angry. We can have a great impact on people in these small little ways. And then the final principle is called collective awakening in beloved community. And in this area, we're going from one to many. So community, he says, is not a noun, it's a verb. We do community. We do things in community. It's a practice. And we know that from our own community. We've done a lot of things in our community that have had an impact on other communities and other groups of people. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, think of a drop of water compared to a river. A drop of water can fall on your head and make your head wet a minute, or fall on your tongue, or a snowflake can fall on your tongue and you can taste it. Or a river flowing down the mountainside can do a lot of other, can nourish life and can carry boats and people can swim in it and it can do wondrous things. So there's a big difference between a drop of water and a river. Think of you throw a stone into a pebble into a puddle or a lake, and you think you've just thrown this little pebble in, but it makes that ripple, 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 and it goes on and on and on. So when we move together and do things with purpose, intentionally, we have a huge effect. And we sometimes think we can't make a difference as an individual. And maybe as a single individual sitting in a cave and meditating, maybe we wouldn't make that much of a difference. I mean, some people believe you can make a difference even then. I don't know. Probably there's some way you can make a difference. But in community with others who believe in this nonviolent form of activity and action, we can make a huge difference in the world. And I think that's something important for us all to think about. Now, as we go through these principles, there are 3 different energies that come up in each of us. The first energy is the one we practiced this morning, the energy of the meditator. Sitting quietly with your own self, contemplating, meditating, allowing yourself to come into the present moment and deal with whatever arises in that moment in you. It's all in the present. It comes to you from the past or the future, but it comes to you in the present, and we can deal with it in the present in a meditative or contemplative state. That's the meditator within us. Then we have an artist within us. Each one of us has an artist, and I'm not talking about an artist just who draws pictures, although that's one kind of an artist. We have the musicians within us. We love beauty. How many of you love beauty? love to look out on a beautiful day, or even look up in the sky and see a beautiful cloud formation, or see a beautiful person walk by in a beautiful dress. I mean, beauty is everywhere, and we all love it, right? That's the artist in us that loves beauty and reacts and responds to beauty. And so we can use our creativity, our exploration, our curiosity, our presence. Think of children. They love to dance. Dancing is the artist in us. You move to the music, you move your body, you get embodied with these things. And that's the artist in us. We become embodied with our artist. And we need that artist to help us to alleviate suffering in ourselves and in the world. And finally, we have the warrior energy. And we can draw on the warrior energy when we're in a very difficult situation that calls for perseverance. It calls for persistence. We are facing obstacles. We don't know what we're going to do next. We don't know what the future holds. We may have a health problem that's become an obstacle to us that we can't do anything about, but we have to deal with it. We may have a problem with a family member who's going through a crisis. We may have anything can happen. Things happen, right? We need courage to face the challenges that we face. And we need perseverance to overcome obstacles. And we need to be determined that we can do it and not just give up and roll over. And that's the warrior in us. So all three of these energies are really important as we go through these principles and these practices, calling up the energy of the meditator, the artist, and the warrior. And I challenge you to look for those energies in yourself over the next week. When do you notice yourself wanting to kind of get in a cocoon or lie on the couch and just daydream or get into a meditative state and contemplate something? That's the meditator in you. When are you making music or singing or painting a picture or just enjoying the beauty around you and saying, oh, I could just look at this tree for 20 minutes. It's so beautiful. That's the artist in you. And then I want you to try to identify the warrior within you. When do you feel that you need strength to endure something and to work it through, figure it out, do something to make a difference for yourself or for others? So I'm really looking forward to this journey that we're about to go on, and I hope that people will be interested in pursuing it. I think everybody will have their own individual insights, experiences, ideas, and practices to share. We can continue to explore and learn from each other, learn from others who have traveled this path and who are traveling the same path in our community. I think these are universal principles, and they're not really attached to any particular religion or spiritual path necessarily, although the Buddhists are the ones who are teaching it to me right now. But I've learned some of it through my other spiritual practices and my spiritual explorations, and you all know I'm very interfaith. I'll take it where I can get it. And I think it's all these ideas that are at the foundation of all mystical traditions, as I've said earlier. And I would like us all, I hope that we can all be strengthened and blessed by this journey, and that we can tap into the infinite wisdom, the joy, the creative energy that Mother Earth and the cosmos have to offer us. So I know that sounded like a lot of ideas, but I would like to give everyone a chance to just think about it for a few minutes, contemplate a little bit, and then we'll have some time for some responses or questions or comments. Maybe we could just have a little bit of music without any words so people can just think for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then maybe they'll feel like saying something. Could you, what do you have your guitar? What instrument do you have? Just play your guitar softly for a few minutes, play a chant, but we can sing it in our mind maybe, so we can think about what may have been coming up for us. Thank you, Isla. So now I'd like to offer the mic to anyone who would like to respond at all to what you've heard this morning or what you've been thinking about, if you have anything on your mind.
Thank you for that talk and the meditation. And for me, it's just so healing to recognize the interbeingness instantly instead of being a separate, alone, vulnerable, lost piece. There's relationship, and that connectedness just shifts everything. And I loved the 3 parts. It's like three gateways to that. Just be, more of just that passive receptive mode. That's what I was thinking about when you were talking about the meditation piece. And then, beauty, the awe, and how that opens your heart and that sense of wonder. And how you can, even in, a difficult experience, how recognizing something beautiful gives you that, it's like that little bit of light in a dark room just shifts it, no matter how small, that appreciation. And then the warrior part, the other gateway of, when you need to act. Yeah, so thank you. It was very healing words in meditation.
I love the way you interacted that. And yes, the warrior, our energies need to draw on each other. Thank you for pointing that out, because we need to balance each other, each of the energies. Oh, that's very well put. Thank you. See, I know everybody will have, as we go through this, we're going to have a lot of insights that relate back. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, George, good. I was hoping.
Thank you, Sally Jo. Well, thank you so much for today's service and sharing all this with us. And I was very moved right from the beginning with the offering to the Divine Feminine. It's always been one of my favorite parts of the whole service, because it's time for true reflection from my experience. But in this season, the season of Christmas, and relating to what you were saying, I sometimes think that Mary gets short shrift sometimes. Her son gets top billing, and rightfully so, I understand that. But it's easy to gloss over, I think, sometimes, the contribution of Mary, and especially when you use a term like transformative. Because I hold that we all have an angel, Gabriel, kind of whispering on our shoulders, encouraging us to yield to giving up to the birth of the divine within us. And I always look to Mary that, you can find all kinds of ways to say, I'm not worthy of it, I'm not prepared for it, and all these kinds of things. But the angels keeps there encouraging you until that time comes when you surrender. And then the transformation begins. And so she's always a model for me for that and for life. So thank you for having this experience today.
Yeah, I really appreciated so much. Especially lately, I've been studying not just the Thich Nhat Hanh book, but some other things like Bruce Lipton, and who was the one who brought into, he's very much a scientist, and he's the one who brought into the fore the idea that we can actually change and create our reality with our consciousness. I mean, he took that from science into the spiritual in our day, and understanding how quantum physics is finally catching up to what the mystics have been telling us all along about this interbeingness, and this, that we are all just flow. You can look at a tree, as I was reading in the Tibetan book of living and dying, you can look at a tree and you think you're looking at a discrete object, but it's constantly changing and exchanging molecules, and it's just like, it's part of this amazing, gigantic flow that is happening all across the universe. And whenever I am feeling some sort of suffering or some kind of joy, to remember that that's just part of the flow, and it's like, it's my joy, it's your joy, it's the tree's joy, it's so the whole interbeingness, to be able to, as you were saying, take what we learn in this spiritual house, this sanctuary, to take it into the world is the calling for our times.
I think the points you brought up today, Sally Jo, really resonate with me, in particular, the one about how we interact. And if someone was to ask me, well, what do you do? How do you do it? And I would say, really, I don't know. I don't have the words that describe it. I can tell you how I feel, though. I can tell you that oftentimes if I'm acting, doing, maybe creating, it's almost like there's a sense of harmony or peace that's inside me. And when I have that feeling, I kind of know I'm on the right track. So I look forward to how this unfolds.
I know how that feels. I like that phrase. We could be looking for that. How does that feel? Someone else?
Everybody here is so eloquent. I feel kind of intimidated to share, but I was so moved by some of the things you raised today. I just feel like sharing. The way you talked about the artist and the warrior, it's just so helpful for me to have a different perspective on the things that happen to me out there. That I can appreciate the artist in myself. That's the artist in me seeing the beauty. That really moved me. And as far as the warrior, it sort of takes the emphasis off of these bad things are happening onto, oh, my warrior is responding to these things, trying to find my strength. So it's just a turning around my maybe normal perspective of, oh, woe is me, towards the other. And what you reminded us about what Karen Lindquist said, to keep coming back to the meditation, to the inner, to prayer, to the connection, that practice being critical, to do that really helped me a lot. And finally, that story from the Quran, that has helped me with my own understanding of my Baha'i teachings on the virgin birth. It really, I'm so grateful for that story because, the Baha'i teachings emphasize that religion without science is superstition, and that all, we have to bring everything to our understanding, our intellectual understanding, history, great thinkers, intuition, all these things have to play a part. So something like the virgin birth, to me, is, I just like, where does that fit into science and ration and, reason and all that? Because the Baha'i writings say that one thing actually is, literally true. Whereas, say, the resurrection has a spiritual meaning, but for some reason that was actually an event. And so I'm, wait a minute, how do I reconcile that with my own religion? But that one little phrase, that the angel or Muhammad was saying, oh, it's so easy for God, that's not a big deal. Just, oh yeah, that's not hard at all. And that just really helped me. Oh yeah, okay, it makes more sense to me now. Thank you.
That's the passage on the Quran is what I was going to comment on too. Because by beginning with that, for me, for one thing, it made me realize how much I do not know about the Quran and have just misunderstood. And the connection that the whole story of the virgin birth, that what you read is literally, almost literally, in the Christian Bible. And that there's no separation of religions, really. It's all interconnected just like we are as beings. So to me, you set the stage for the whole discussion and the experience of today.
It's also interesting how the last line of that passage, and that's a long, pretty long passage, but it all flows. There's nothing I left out. The last line is, over which they will dispute. Or over which they dispute. It was in the present tense. And the present is still present, right? So yeah, you point out something very interesting there, that this will cause some dispute. And so here's the truth, you know. That's beautiful. Anyone else want to? Okay, yeah. I guess.
The last passage of what they dispute, I thought was your addition, because the whole, I believe you, but it seemed like the Jesus and Mary and all that, and then part of the Quran, and to be disputed because it's not part of usually the Quran, or at least understood by Christianity, right? So.
Well, I must give full credit to Ann Holmes Redding, because when we touched on that in the Friday prayers on Friday, I just said, oh gosh, I got to bring that to my people. And I went and read, she just quoted a little bit in the middle. I went back and reread, because I remember when I first read that passage in the Quran and how I thought to myself, this is for real. This is directly from Mary. This is not a man describing Mary's experience. In my own mind, it felt like it was Mary describing Mary's experience. As a woman, that's what I thought. Of course, that's just me, but anyway, I'm glad you all enjoyed it. I was a little worried it would be a bit much, but you never know. Well, let's stop there with that, and we can do more talking later. I want to go into our upcoming gatherings, and I'm going to ask Jamal to talk about that. And I want to mention first that Brenda Neff is here, and with some of her colleagues are going to be meeting after the service we're going to all go downstairs for refreshments and coffee and tea. There's some mostly goodies. I don't know if there's anything really substantial lunch type menus, but there's some banana bread and some pumpkin bars and some good stuff, and we can have with our coffee and tea. And after 10, 15 minutes, when people get their little snack, Brenda and her colleagues are going to come up and meet with us about, anybody who's interested, about this Heartfulness program. And I think Brenda might have talked a little bit about it last Sunday, but this is a meditation practice that they're going to be offering anybody here who wants to participate in it and learn more about it. And they will talk. I'm going to be joining the group after the service and hear more about it myself. And because it will be a way, and you're thinking of, if we have enough interest, having a class here at ICS, is that right? If we can do that, that would be wonderful. So it'll be like 15 minutes after we, maybe 11:45, and it might go for, because we'll finish up here by 11:30, and then 11:45, we'll go downstairs, and people who want to come up and hear more about this heartfulness meditation, all very compatible. I mean, thanks to George, we've learned so much about different kinds of meditation. You can meditate and contemplate whatever way suits you. Some of us do it with movement, with qigong, with yoga. Others do it with, music, or with walking meditation. There's so many ways, but it's all the similar purpose and can reach a similar goal that we might have for our own peace of mind. So I encourage you to explore that with them after the service, around 11:45. They'll come up here and have a little group meeting. There have been so many, and I was mentioning George with his meditation practice for several years now, every Thursday afternoon or evening, 7 o'clock. Meet right here, sitting in silence, meditating together in community and seeing how that impacts you. And that's been going on for several years now, and it's still going strong. And some of the people who come to that are not even the same people who sit in this room on Sunday morning, but they're part of our community. And we have many groups meeting like that who are either studying books or other things. So Jamal, I'd like you to come up and tell us a few more announcements. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go down and get that Thich Nhat Hanh book.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So my friends, let me start with the program that is most long-lasting. You know, when we came here first in late 1990s, we said we must have the Native American tradition. So that's a very integral part of our community. So, Steve, you can help me. I think on every Tuesday by Zoom, Sisiwi Medicine Circle has a program. Then you have a monthly, if I remember, all-day Saturday program. Is that the second Saturday of the month? Okay. Then on Wednesday, you meet in person here, every fourth Wednesday. Every fourth Wednesday. Okay, so we have the Native American tradition is a very important component of our programs we do here. That's happening since 1997, 98, ever since we've come here. The second oldest one is Course in Miracles, which meets every Tuesday. Am I right? Every Tuesday. In person, yeah. First and third. That's Course in Miracles. Then we have Silence every Thursday, 7 to 8. Then we have the Islamic prayer is very old. It's 13 years old. We meet on Zoom every Friday from 1:30 to 3. Then we have a lot of Sufi programs. We have Monday in person, the Whirling Dervishes, which is quite popular. Every second Thursday, we have Zikr, Ruhaniyat. Then we have Rumi, Tuesday and Wednesday, all on Zoom. These are programs happening every single week. Then Isla, you've had programs here? Yeah. Tell us about your programs.
Every fourth Friday, 7 p.m., I offer chanting as a form of a sound healing. So you're welcome to come and write down your intentions and keep the piece of paper with you. And then you can enjoy meditating, you can lie down, you can dance, you can do whatever feels right for you. And the whole purpose of this is to give a space for your exploration into your own inner world, your inner peace, your inner wisdom. And this is facilitated by the healing chants that I offer.
And you've been doing this for years now here.
Quite a few years, yes.
That's our inner artist.
Yeah. Okay, my friends, very quickly, we also have a very wonderful program we've had every year. This place, usually, at least pre-pandemic, used to get totally packed. Sacred Intentions on New Year's Day. The Interfaith Amigos would participate. This year, in 2026, it'll be myself, Sally Jo, Pastor Dave Brown from Tacoma, and Father Centurio, who'll be arriving from Uganda. In person, New Year's Day, topic is setting sacred intentions, 3 to 4:30. 3 to 4 is the program, half an hour is for snacking and connecting with one another.
Let's tell the people in cyberspace. I'd like to mention the people who are listening online, this will be recorded. Thank you to our dear Bryce Rowe, who's going to be here. He had a special little time off work to come and make sure this gets live streamed and recorded so that people at a distance can also enjoy.
Okay. And one last thing, my own propaganda. I'm teaching a class starting on January 10th. It's a 6-week class, but it's about the topic of the umbrella topic of next year, which is from the national best-selling book of Thich Nhat Hanh, right there, the Zen and the Art of Saving the Planet. Please.
I was talking to Father Centurio. Father Centurio joins Jamal's Zoom class from Uganda, and I was talking to him the other day, and he said, my new teacher, I've learned so much from my new teacher, Jamal.
Well, he's my teacher, Father Centurio, but thank you so much. Have I missed anything as far as programs?
I know Nora Grace has once a month a movie gathering, and then I don't know if you're still doing your wild church.
Yeah, I've got a couple things. A couple times a month we do wild church, and you just have to look at the calendar or watch the emails. I'll probably kind of do a pattern of first and third, but that happens over at Carkeek on Saturday mornings. And then I'm adding something on the Tuesday evenings that ACIM is not here, the 2nd and 4th. I'm doing something, and it's kind of a call to the warrior spirit. It's a healing the dark. And it's about facing, we tend to project. Carl Jung brought to us the idea that every time you see that person is, doing something that irritates you, that's something inside of you. So this practice, which uses the confraternity prayers from the Anayati order of Sufism, there's a practice, and you're really facing that dark side and really becoming intimate with it. So for the first 3 months of the year, 2nd and 4th Tuesday evenings.
And very important, Salish, please mention the service next week, which is most important, critical.
Right, so next Sunday, the first Sunday of January, which I believe is the 4th of January, if I have that date right, but the first Sunday of January, we have our annual membership celebration, and our service will be presented more or less by Jamal and myself and our officers and members of the congregation, and we will go through kind of a little bit of retrospective about the year that has passed, and a little bit of talking about the year that is coming up. And then we'll go downstairs after the service and have our annual meeting where we will elect our officers and our, hopefully, new president and new secretary, and probably the treasurer will probably remain constant, but we never know. And then we will have a little bit of business about, present the budget, the proposed budget for the next year, and do a little bit of our business meeting, and then have our, our lunch and things that we do after the council meeting. So that's the first Sunday of every month is guiding council meeting, and that's when we kind of go through the business of the church and the activities of the church and make sure that everybody's aware of what's going on and what needs to happen and things like that. So that'll be next Sunday, the service, and then after the service, the council meeting. So hope everybody can join that. We need to get a quorum for that. We always do. We don't have too much problems with the quorum anymore. We have a great group of people who meet and help with that. And good. So let's take a moment to do our offering. And after our offering, we'll have a little bit more music to calm down the spirit here of all these different announcements and things. And we'll go into our prayer time. So I know the folks out in cyberspace are going to be able to give online through the website, and that will take you exactly to your place where you can donate. And we're very grateful for all the donations that occur online, and then people who are in person, many people mail in their donation, or they give it during the activities and our classes. We always accept love offerings, and this keeps us afloat, folks. It keeps our building alive and well treated, and we have always a little repair work to go on. Oh, yes. If you go to a website, interfaithcommunitysanctuary.org. I know that QR code may work back here. The one I gave out last week, something was wrong with it. I don't know what. I had Chiaki help me make that QR code, but I didn't put it back in the program because it wasn't working. But this, Jamal, she can try that. That one does work, I think. Okay. That goes to the website. You could, okay. And the one I tried to create, my warrior has to come out and help me with my computer skills, because, man, I have to fight that like the dickens. Anyway, we're very grateful for your offerings, and we appreciate that we can hopefully end I think we'll have a good chance of ending the year in the green rather than the black, as they say, or the red. I don't know what these colors mean, but we will have hopefully achieved that we have all the money we need to keep going forward into the new year. So thanks be to God for that. And I want to just have a little bit of chant, and then we'll share our hearts and have our closing circle. Thank you.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Shri
Beautiful music today. We appreciate your sharing. So we say goodbye to the folks online at this point and thank them for being here and welcome them back all the time, including January 1st at 3 o'clock. And again,